Hello everyone, this is Dean of Utterly Upcycled and welcome to my new video. This beautiful gray leopard fabric was a remnant from my projects years back when I was just starting sewing, when I still get carried away and buy or hoard fabric. I think every sewing enthusiast went through, if not still in that phase where you can't just get enough of buying fabrics. Anyways, join me today or tonight, depending on what time you're watching this video, as I transform this piece of leftover fabric into a bag. If you have watched any of my videos before, you'll know that whenever I start a project, I usually don't have an exact plan as to what kind of bag or design I will make. Ideas just come naturally as I go along. And luckily, it ends up alright. Not every time, but at least most of the time. When I make a certain project, I take into consideration the size of the fabric I have, and it affects the whole outcome of the project. As much as possible, I would like to use most of it, and I would like to avoid cutting the fabric into a much smaller pieces. As you may already know, most of the fabric I use is from old clothing materials or scrap from leftover materials. And because of this, the size of the fabric I have is very limited, especially about the color and design or print of the fabric. I seldom get or find multiple garments of the same color and print, so I just work with what I have, and it's alright. Because that's the whole point of my brand. It's to save most unwanted garments as much as I possibly can from ending up in landfills, and to promote slow fashion by recycling, upcycling, and repurposing. It is unsettling to know that the textile industry is the second largest polluting industry in the world next to oil and gas. From the overproduction of garments that in the end thrown away in landfills when unsold, to the carbon emissions it produces from the production of the fabric, to the manufacturing of the garment, to the transfer of the products from point A to point B. It contributes so much to the pollution. Not to mention the inhumane situations of the underpaid and abused workers in different clothing factories that supplies most of the top clothing brands found in the mall. Like, how can a supposed to be harmless action of being fashionable be this complicated and bad to our environment? If that is the case, then I'm glad that I have a poor fashion sense and that I shop clothes secondhand in the thrift store. It is so eerie to know how the environmental footprint of a single person significantly affects our environment. Knowing all that information gives me chills and make me think how selfish we can be to not care about our actions, that just for the sake of being fashionable, we tend to throw away our conscience and we just sort of look away from the fact that our actions has a negative effect in our environment. Honestly, I am or was also guilty of over-accumulating things that are not essential. And every day, I try my best to change that about myself. Little by little, I am taking action to live a more sustainable life. As of the moment, I am in the process of downsizing. I am also trying so hard to make sure that this small business that I am trying to build is built sustainably, meaning I watch what resources I use in making my bag. As much as possible, I only use materials that I already have or materials that already exist. This way, I won't be contributing to the demand for manufacturing new materials. But I am only one person, and I know I won't be making a big environmental impact alone. At least I am trying to create awareness. Like I used to say, I am doing my part in my own little way. Imagine if every sewist or designer or artist would consider doing that. Sometimes it is disheartening when only a few people support what you do, and people around you tend to gravitate towards buying fast fashion products all the time. It's hard to compete with the amount of the products they offer and the price they charge for each of their items. Only if people would take time to dig a little deeper, they would know how these fast fashion brands operate. It's not that hard, since all of the information we need can be easily accessed all over the internet. We just need to look for it. So why am I doing this? Why submit myself to the hassle and hard work of working with upcycled materials? From sourcing to washing the garment, ironing it, and then in the end, getting a very limited amount of fabric. When I just can easily buy meters and meters of fabric readily available at a textile store, with so many colors and designs to choose from, and that is much more cost-effective than using sustainable materials. Yes, buying used garments is cheap, but you can also find cheap brand new fabrics minus the cost of electricity, water, and detergent, and the manpower you consume from preparing the garments to be ready for sewing. It is much more convenient to opt for using brand new fabrics, and from my experience, making bags out of brand new fabrics sells faster than those I made from used materials. But upon learning about textile pollution and how huge manufacturers affect our environment, I don't want to contribute to that any further. Though I am only one person, and my change in practice for a more sustainable production might not matter that much, I believe that at least if I try to spread awareness and hopefully influence more small businesses and convince consumers to support sustainability, eventually, little by little, this would probably make a positive impact to our environment. It is quite hard to build a business, let alone do it this way. May not be a smart choice business-wise, but I am willing to take the risk to build my business morally and ethically. I know this is not going to be easy, but thinking that this is the right way to do, it calms my mind and uplifts my spirit. It is giving me high hopes that soon this will all pay off. I think I already talked too much for this video. Now, let's focus on making bags. If you have reached this part of the video, thank you so much for watching. And please, I encourage you to do your research. There are more sustainable options available, and already a lot of small businesses doing this practice. We just need to open our eyes and minds to appreciate it. That's it for now, guys. If you like this video and somehow found this video helpful, please leave a thumbs up or hit share and subscribe. If you have any requests or suggestions, please feel free to leave it in the comment section. I would love to hear from you, my very few viewers and subscribers. I appreciate you big time. Thank you so much for watching. Till next time. Bye.